Good evening. On behalf of Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, the League of Women Voters, and Pennsylvanians for Modern Courts, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this evening's Pennsylvania Governor's Advisory Commissioners 101. If I have not had the chance to meet you yet, my name is Deborah Rogers, and I serve as Director of Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility for Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. At Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, our mission is to engage our community in literacy and learning. To that end, the purpose of this evening's event is to give our neighbors across the Commonwealth an opportunity to get to know the Governor's Advisory Commissions through a moderated discussion. We want to thank the League of Women Voters and Pennsylvanians for Modern Courts for their willingness to co-sponsor this evening's event. Additionally, a special thank you to Anette Nance, Executive Director of the Advisory Commission on African American Affairs, and a thanks to Jessica Bayless, who leads our civic and virtual engagement efforts. We appreciate their work in envisioning and planning this evening's event. I am pleased to be joined this evening by Ashley Priori, Founder, President, and CEO of Queen's Gambit, and a Commissioner for Next Generation Engagement. She will serve as co-moderator of this evening's discussion. Additionally, Jessica will be monitoring the chat and Q&A, and so we look forward to engaging with you via those means. As we prepare to dialogue this evening, we want to invite everyone present to be mindful of the following community agreements that will shape our time together. First, we invite you to keep it relevant. This panel discussion is focused on the Pennsylvania Governor's Advisory Commissions, their roles and responsibilities, and how the community can work with them and utilize these commissions. Please keep the conversation on the topic at hand. We invite you to keep it kind. Treat everyone in the virtual space with respect. You are also invited to keep it positive. Opinions will vary, and all opinions are valid. Finally, keep it nonpartisan. The purpose of this discussion is to promote civic engagement. What candidates you support or what party you are affiliated with should not be promoted during this event. And now I will invite Ashley to welcome the executive directors of the advisory commissions.
Thank you and good evening. We appreciate everyone taking the time to join us for this special event. As Deborah mentioned, my name is Ashley Lynn Priori, and I serve as the president and CEO of Queen's Gambit, a national nonprofit organization elevating a new generation of strategic, inclusive, and civically minded leaders through the power of chess. I also serve as a commissioner for Governor Shapiro's newly established Advisory Commission on Next Generation Engagement. I am pleased to welcome the panelists, and I will allow them to introduce themselves, starting with Henry.
Hi, I'm Henry Sias. I'm the Executive Director of the Governor's Commission on LGBTQ Affairs.
Hello, I'm Olga Negrón, and I'm the Executive Director of Governor Commission on Latino Affairs.
Good evening. My name is Annette Nance, and I'm the Executive Director of the Governor's Advisory Commission on African American Affairs. And I just want to enter one little tidbit of a place in Pennsylvania that folks should visit, which I would definitely say Western Pennsylvania, specifically Pittsburgh, because there are a lot of parks and outdoor activities for folks to do.
My name is Ruby Mundok, and I'm the Executive Director of the newly established Commission on Next Generation Engagement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Moriah Hathaway. I'm the Executive Director of the Governor's Advisory Commission on Women. I've been in the role for over 3 years now, so I had a chance to serve under the Wolf administration as well as now Shapiro. And I think a place that people don't always think about visiting is where I'm from, which is Greene County, Pennsylvania. And they have a really fun bituminous coal parade every August. So I would encourage folks to check that out and check out the history area.
Razin, I don't think I can't hear you. Can anyone else hear Razin?
While Razin is getting his mic situated, I'll shout out Lancaster, PA, which is where I was born and raised and where I currently live as well and attend school. Another great gem. We're not just Amish country, although that is a great part of our history. Yes, I see that we have a fellow Millersville student in the audience as well. Hello, Andrew.
And as he's getting his mic situated here, I will say that he serves as the Executive Director for the Asian American and Pacific Islander Affairs. And I think as we're waiting, we can dive into the next section here. And I will have Moriah take that way, talking about the roles and responsibilities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So yes, as you've heard, I've been with the Advisory Commission for quite some time. So I think my colleagues kind of elected me to answer what the commissions do and how they function. And a big part of what we do is ensure that every community across the state is represented to the best of our abilities, right? We always know there may be gaps and there might be people missing, but I think the governor has each one of us serve in our roles to ensure that he's getting a voice from each community that we represent. We also act as advocates for our communities and raise issues that are impacting our communities to the governor and his policy teams. And each one of our commissions is actually composed of 30 members from across the state. So we try to do a good job of representing each region of Pennsylvania on each of our commissions. And we also use the governor's agenda to help promote the work that we do in our communities. So it kind of works both ways. We take issues to the governor's office from our communities, and the governor also, sets an agenda, and we try to push his information into the communities as well, so they know what's happening and they feel more connected to state government. And I think that's one of our biggest roles is being a resource for folks who might not always have access to government.
And Henry, could you share how commissions support communities throughout Pennsylvania?
Yes. By the way, I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm assuming everybody's heard of it, but I will give a quick shout out to our state park system, which is awesome and is a pioneering park system in the country, one of the first, and was established by a real leader in preserving natural spaces and public lands. And the way we serve communities is responsive. We have to listen to our commissioners and try to respond to crises and hurts, and we make sure that the governor knows what's going on in our communities. He really wants to know what's going on in traditionally underserved communities. And so that's an important way that we serve communities all over Pennsylvania. And we also help expand the governor's reach, as a conduit, acting both ways, like Moriah said. So for instance, I had a very busy June going to a lot of amazing Pride events. And it was great to be there. It was great to see more of the Commonwealth. It was also great to listen to what different organizations are doing. When a local organization finds a solution to a problem that other municipalities are facing, you can help be the vector by which that solution sort of spreads. And you can carry it sort of up the ladder to the governor as well. And that kind of works both ways. But listening is a really important part of the job. And I think also it depends on, which community. We each have sort of different contours that we're responding to. One of the unique challenges that the LGBTQ community faces is that LGBTQ people don't necessarily grow up in LGBTQ families. So for instance, this is LGBTQ History Month, yay. And that's important because we don't learn our culture at home necessarily. And these days, learning it in school is a bit of a dicey proposition. So we have to, promote our history and our culture to make sure that there aren't any, there's nobody in Pennsylvania feels like they're the only one or that there's no community for them. So that's part of what we want to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, I'd love to hear a bit about goals for each of you. So could each of you just take a few minutes to talk about a top goal, one goal? There's several that we could go into, but just one goal that you have for your commission. And let's do a reverse order that we did with our introductions, and just do some goal sharing. So again, Moriah, we'll start with you.
Wonderful. Well, great too. I also want to make sure my colleague Razin's voice works. It's his, yeah, okay, good. Just checking in on him. All right, great. So one of our commission's priorities has been women's health and access to women's health care, and particularly maternal health, specifically Black maternal health, because we know Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth. So, the governor has said that's just a statistic we can't ignore. So he's actually asked for $2.3 million to address maternal mortality, morbidity in our state, and has allocated that money to go toward a prevention programming through the Department of Health. So this was the first time that a governor has actually given money specifically to improve maternal health outcomes in our state. So that is something we're very proud of. It's something we've been advocating for years. So it's great that Governor Shapiro has committed some funding to that. And we also are trying to work really closely with stakeholders that are doing a lot of work in the maternal health space and trying to have a very diverse perspective on what maternal health is and how our commission can be, a voice for them in the governor's office, and really trying to center the voices of the most marginalized in the work that we do, because we know that if our work, isn't intersectional, then it's not really good work. So that's a big piece is women's health. So thank you for that.
I think I was next. I don't remember, but I'll go next. Again, like all of the other commissions, there is so much that we want to focus on, and we all kind of have our 3 priorities set for the year. But one of the things that the Next Generation Engagement Commission is really focusing on, especially right now as we're heading into a very crucial time of year, is voter education here in Pennsylvania. We really want to make sure that young people not only know how to register to vote, especially, college students. You can register in Pennsylvania if you're an out-of-state student, changing your address to your college address, just little kind of bits and bobs like that when it comes to voter registration, but also just making sure young people are aware that state and local elections happen, and they are as important, if not more important, than national elections, even when it comes to, voting for legislators who are going to affect your life directly. So just making sure that young people are up to date, they know what's going on, the information is given to them and it's not hard to find and it's easy to understand is one thing that got me into this work, and one thing that the commission is really focusing on, especially as we head into the upcoming election, which, little plug for that, the deadline to register to vote is October 23rd, and we have an election coming up on November 7th. So make sure you have a plan to vote, but that's definitely one of the kind of ongoing priorities of our commission.
Okay, if everyone can hear me now, my apologies, my Bluetooth got disconnected earlier. I think one of the major concerns within the API community is has historically been not having the government accessible, right? So the API Commission is committed to making government more accessible for Pennsylvanians of API origin and promoting tolerance. We want to support this administration to develop policies and initiatives to accomplish in the state. And some of the things that we have been working on is expansion of language access and language navigation for victim services through public institutions, right? So that would include things like the state hospital, the court systems, right? The Pennsylvania State Police and the various departments that we have within the state administration. Expansion of institution and financial aid for immigrant and refugee students who are attending colleges and universities within the state, right? Especially the kids of H-1B visa holders. These are folks who are here on a work permit temporarily. They are paying state taxes, and we are hoping to make sure that they get the same benefit if they're attending institution at Penn State, PASHE system, and other universities. An expansion of implicit bias trainings for public safety agencies across the Commonwealth. These are some of the priorities the API Commission is working on.
So I'll just go ahead and go next. Just to kind of give a little bit of background, so each commission also does have subcommittees, and so that kind of guides their goals. So for my commission, we have education, workforce development, and gun violence as our subcommittees. And at the moment, our kind of three goals, sub-goals. So within education, we're looking at how can we diversify the teaching field. And something to note, the Department of Education just launched a website to really recruit new teachers. So we want, how do we ensure that that space is getting more diverse? We're having Black and brown teachers there so that these students are able to see themselves in these spaces as well. And then also in the workforce development space, how do we really get these emerging sectors like your clean energy and things like that that are growing drastically? How do we get African Americans to know about these fields and get exposure to them? And lastly, with gun violence, really that education piece of it and prevention, and looking at how do we make sure that nonprofits and organizations and those leaders are connected to those resources at PCCD. So the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, when there are grants and things of that nature that are out there. And so those are the areas that the African American Affairs Commission is focused on. We have various other goals, but just a few, just because, to be mindful of time. And then I guess Olga or Henry, you all are next.
Yeah, I'm ready. So I, first of all, to piggyback it what my colleagues were saying, I am in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And if any of you like Christmas, gets excited about Christmas, you have to visit Bethlehem, Pennsylvania during Christmas, because we are the Christmas city. So we have the city turns around completely, and it becomes actually Hallmark. Actually put a video camera last Christmas, and there's a movie now showcasing the downtown of the city of Bethlehem because it's magical. It's a beautiful time. So if you do enjoy Christmas, go to christmascity.org and you will find all the happenings in our beautiful city. So my commission was the last commission to meet. My group was so busy. It's such a busy group that it was hard to find a time. And I do have 29 commissioners. So meanwhile, while we were trying to find dates organized, I was sending them all this incredible amount of emails of the things that were happening, whether it was the Votes PA got translated to Spanish, or Medicaid was time for enrollment, and Latinos were falling behind in terms of re-enrolling. So I'm sending that to all my commissioners. And when we gathered for the first time a couple of weeks ago, the first thing they actually said was, we need to be the connection with everything the administration is doing and the community, which is, you heard Moriah and Henry talk about that. That is a role, but it was something that immediately, that was like, they say, can we just do that? That's a big deal. We need to make sure. So the main goal, it is to support in carrying out the Governor Shapiro's vision for Pennsylvanians by identifying inequities, disparities, and gaps in services related to health, human services, safety, community and economic development, voting and civic engagement, and any other government services to the growing Latino population in our Commonwealth. So we do have divided into committees, and the next few weeks, the committees are meeting, and we will be tailoring our goals more specifically. But at this point, they really have felt like they have to be that connection, since the Latino community across the Commonwealth is usually the last one to hear about new services or new programs or grants, incentives for minority business. So they are really excited and eager to continue being the voice, the loud voice, amplifying the administration's work.
The LGBTQ Commission shares the governor's concern with mental health and that priority. And we are looking at the resources available to doctors, especially doctors with community practices in smaller communities, to make sure that they're aware of the increased risk of mental health issues, distress for LGBTQ people and youth especially, that they have the resources that they need to provide care in a respectful manner. And we're looking at the way data is collected. We're looking at what's happening in the schools. So there's a lot to do. And I share my colleagues' interest in making sure that people understand what services are available to them. And we're also looking, on the other hand, at making sure local nonprofits, for instance, have the resources they need to provide aid respectfully to our community. So those are the priorities that we're working on right now.
Excellent. Perfect. So I want to dive in now to just how you can get involved. And I'm going to ask Ruby to share a bit about how you can become a member of the commission, what that looks like, what the process is like, and just in general, how you can get more involved with this work.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. It's an interesting process, especially in my experience with the Next Gen Commission. We were brand new. Also, apologies if you could see my dog in the corner. I just realized he was there. But we really took the time along with the governor's office just to connect with, different community leaders, different networks that we already had in place, talking to our networks, reaching out. For me, I was reaching out to a lot of schools in Pennsylvania, different youth-led organizations, and just different organizations revolving around and including our own communities, to build a list of potential commissioners. And then also, if individuals heard about the commissions, they could reach out to us as well. A lot of us did just kind of like Zoom discussions with the people that were interested so we could get to know them a little bit. And then we made our final recommendations after some rounds of interviews. It was a really fun process, just, getting to see how many people are just so passionate about making sure Pennsylvania is a great place to be and that everyone's voices are represented. So after the executive directors made their recommendations for the commission, they go to the governor to be approved and then are appointed for 2-year terms. So in the idea of kind of getting involved at the moment, most of our commissions are currently full since we did just start our 2-year terms A lot of our commissioners were appointed in the most recent months, August, September. But, we always still welcome input from community members. And I mean, that's the whole point of the commissions, is to make sure we're hearing from the communities, not just the commissioners that the governor appointed, but everybody else as well. And then also along with that, we're always open to collaborating with, passionate people in the Commonwealth and making sure that we're sharing the work that's happening in their communities. So, I mean, I think that being here in this discussion, if you're watching this, is also just a great way to get your foot in the door. I'm sure all of us are happy to share our contact info. So if opportunities do come open, we can reach out to you as well. Yeah, that's kind of the process.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And that is a wonderful dive into our next set of questions, because people have submitted some really, really great ones. And I'll be going back to you, Ruby, for this question. This asks generally, somebody asked, how are you working to bring the next generation into government and politics when our elected officials aren't making space for them?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the establishment of this commission is really, really huge for Pennsylvania, and I think really huge for the United States as well. We're seeing a bunch of other commissions like this one pop up in different agencies and different states. I think that, Governor Shapiro has proven that he wants young people to be heard at the table. Something that he always says that sticks with me is, young people are always asked during the election cycle, get out and vote, do your part. And then once the elected officials that they voted for are elected, they don't come to us to ask for our opinions or to hear our concerns. So, establishing this commission here in Pennsylvania is just a really, really big step to making sure that this crucial generation of the future leaders is heard. And also it's a great opportunity for the other commissions as well. Our commissions all collaborate a ton together. We love working together on different events. A lot of us have overlapping priorities. And so it's nice because, a lot of the other commissions are comprised of adults. And not saying that, we're not adults too, but, we're at different points in our life. And it's nice because the other commissions are now also getting that kind of youth perspective within their communities as well. I think it's huge. And I'm sure that we are going to make some big changes here and make sure our next generation is set up for success.
Excellent. Wonderful. This is for anyone who is interested in answering this next question. What steps do you take to gather information about the communities that you serve? And more broadly, what inspires you to do the work that you do?
I can weigh in on that. I went to law school from 2002 to 2005, which was probably the most intense time to be an out LGBTQ law student in the history of the United States. My first semester, I was doing exceedingly low-level work on a brief in Lawrence v. Texas. By my third year, we were suing the Department of Defense over Don't Ask, Don't Tell and on-campus recruitment. And my friends were getting married. So a lot of change. And then I went straight into the battle for marriage equality. And as a lawyer, helped to make sure that Medicaid provided gender affirming care, and have worked on name changes and name change reform. I've worked through the Bar Association on making the justice system fairer and more open to LGBTQ people. And so this seemed like the place to be. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the discourse about transgender people is getting pretty intense. So as an out transgender guy, I felt that school kids shouldn't be on the front lines of this. So it sort of was incumbent on me to be out there doing this work. And I try to visit LGBTQ community centers as often as I can. Our next commission meeting will be at an LGBTQ community center outside of Philly, not in Philly. We try to have our meetings, not just in big cities, but all over the Commonwealth. And we are on the phone a lot. We are in meetings a lot because it's important for us to be effective and efficient conduits so that the administration can, respond to the needs in our communities in a timely way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
I
Now,
think,
again, oh, go ahead.
yes, one of the things that I would most certainly like to mention is for the AAPI community, having a forum like this, having a commission like this that advises the governor's office as volunteer advisors. This concept is a little alien because there's a lot of people from Asian countries who were born and raised in those countries, which are not functional democracies. For them to understand that the governor of a state wants to listen to your suggestions, opinions, concerns is something very alien to them. It is something that is very surprising to them, and they feel really, really honored to be included in a group like this, where their suggestions, ideas, concerns are being heard. So for the APA community, it is very necessary to have a forum like this because of what background, what memory they have had in their native lands.
Excellent. Wonderful. Now, again, this next question is for anyone that can answer. Are these all of the commissions or just a select few? Now, somebody asked if there's a commission on disability. Are these all the commissions or just a select few?
So I'll take that question just because I kind of researched that as they were asking. So for specifically, the governor does have an advisory commission for, it's called an advisory committee for people with disabilities, and that's actually housed under our Department of Human Services. So the governor's office does oversee a lot of boards and commissions, so such as making appointments to like the Board of Medicine or the Nursing Board or the Cosmetology Board. So chances are there probably is a committee or advisory board or commission for a very specific either job or community that's impacted heavily by state policy and legislation. But I'd be happy to send the link in the chat. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the commission or committee for people with disabilities, I'll share that so you can, whoever's interested can have that information.
I would like to chime in. I served as a commissioner years ago under the Governor Randall's administration under his PCCD, Crime Prevention and Community Revitalization Commission. So I was working for the city of Allentown and was the coordinator for the Whedon City initiative there. So being part of that commission was crucial for me because we got together, we reviewed grants from other communities that were applying for the funding. You know, it was really, really amazing, the work that we were able to do. And I felt like I really play a role in the funding and the services that communities across the Commonwealth were serving. Later on with the Wolf administration, I served on the Public Library Commission. So I was very involved because I was involved with my library board, my local library board, and not being on that commission. And again, it's another way to collectively, as a Commonwealth, work with leaders across the Commonwealth for one specific point. So we are the commissions on the different, as you heard us saying, LGBTQ, African American youth, but there's also other commissions through other agencies, and that's opportunities for anybody to join.
Adding on to that real quick, we also are seeing a bunch of the different state agencies starting next generation advisory councils as well. So that's a great resource I've been sharing just with the young people that I meet throughout this job. I know that DCNR, the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, has a next gen advisory commission. And I know Banking and Securities also is thinking about starting one. And I think, a few other agencies are also considering it. So there's always opportunities, not just within the governor's administration, but just within the other agencies in PA that make just as much of a difference.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, Henry, we have a question for you here, and this is a really great question. This person said, I saw that there are some bills in the state Senate about 1, removing the newspaper name change requirement for trans people, 2, expanding funding for trans folks changing names / gender markers, and 3, removing gender markers from birth certificates, and another one, some other bills in the process here. What role is the LGBTQ Commission playing in the push for these bills? And are there ways that community members can be supportive?
There are some limits here that I should have to at the beginning. We can't, there are ways in which we don't interact with the political process, but we always encourage people to call their representatives in government at every level. Call them once a week, why not? You should text the governor, it's very easy. And a lot of organizations have been working on this reform for quite a while, including the Bar Association. I've obviously gone through the process myself and helped others, and it's a process that seems to predate the online information revolution in a lot of ways. So, without getting into politics, anything that makes the lives of trans people easier right now is great,
Thank you. Excellent.
Thanks.
Now, this is for any commissioner. How specifically do the commissions interact with local communities? For example, are there meetings in different areas in the state, or what do the commissions do to make sure that all communities are heard?
I can answer that one. I think it really depends on the organization and their mission and things like that. For myself specifically, with a lot of organizations I've been meeting with, I like to really, one, do my research on the organization and the work that they're doing, but also understand what they may possibly need. My background is in social service, so I kind of have a little bit of that work and I have my MSW. So when I'm talking to a lot of nonprofits, I kind of understand the language and what they need and within community engagement. And then also in our meetings, I usually have people fill out a survey as well to help with our meetings so we can stay on subject of kind of what do you do annually? Like, is it a specific meeting or things like that? Have you even had any interaction with government agencies? And if you have, who have they been with and what has that looked like in the past? Some organizations may have had a negative interaction. And so that's where that puts that amazing opportunity to change what that can look like. Because we know the governor always says there's no wrong way to get to government. And so when we have these meetings with these leaders and these organizations across the state, via Zoom or in person or whatever things that they may invite us to, it really helps to keep and grow these relationships so we can talk about these various resources on the state level. Because like we have before, there's a lot of organizations and various departments that the governor's office oversees. And so it is our job to make sure that we are that intermediary when we're connecting and make sure folks have that information. So I would say that is one way of being really strategic with having the information, doing your research on the organization, having the meeting, and just also coming out of that meeting with certain goals of, what's needed. Is it connecting to PCCD? Is it understanding what an RCAP is? Is it also maybe reviewing some things internally of how the government can do some things, or is it even also connecting with the lieutenant governor's office? And sometimes they may want him to show up at some things, maybe the governor can't be there. So that's also some things that happen there. And then also we show up to those things and then we connect, like I said before.
Excellent. Perfect. Now, again, anyone may answer this question. How do people know when you are hosting events? Some people have said that they haven't heard many of the commissions or upcoming events. I know some of you have Facebook pages. How can people know when you're hosting different events in the community?
I think the best way to do that is follow the social media pages of the commissions. We have some of our commissions have Facebook, and some of our commissions have Instagram, and some of them have both of them. So that can be done if you go to governor.pa.gov and /commissions. you can find more information over there.
You can also ask to be added to our email list. We do occasionally send out emails notifying people of upcoming events.
Yeah, and I just wanted to plug that we're actually hosting a joint gun violence discussion next Thursday at the Pennsylvania State Museum. We're doing a film screening of the movie Trigger with in conjunction with the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, another commission that exists. So that'll be Thursday, October 12th. It's free and there will be food. And it'll be a discussion again about gun violence in all of our communities. And I'll put the registration link in the chat. So I'm not sure if anyone is, in the Harrisburg area or able to attend, but it'll be in the evening next Thursday. And that's just one of the ways that we've, cross collaborated to talk about an issue that impacts every single one of our communities in a different way. So yeah, I'll add that in the chat. But, I also send a weekly rundown of what the governor has got going on, what we've got going on. So if folks are interested in being added to the Commission on Women's weekly rundown, I'll put my email in the chat and you can let me know if you'd like to be added to that so you can stay up to date with what we've got going on.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, this question can be for any of the commissioners, but I'm really interested to hear what Anette has to say on this one. How are the commissions working together to address sexual violence? Are there any collaborative efforts between the Women's Commission, LGBTQ plus Commission, Black and Latino commissions to suggest new approaches to this issue? Can you touch on how the commissions are working together to address sexual violence?
I think this is a good one for Henry. You can talk about what you're doing with the Human Relations Commission.
Yeah. I'm going to be on a panel soon about workplace sexual harassment. And we'll be talking about a lot of different people's experiences. I'm going to talk about my experiences pre-transition and post-transition. And my commission is looking at the way that LGBTQ youth are disproportionately represented in homelessness, and the way that they are made to survive, and trying to address making it easier to get their records cleaned up. I have a history with criminal records reform. I worked on that for a long time. So this is a project I'm working on that I think will help people move out of a time in their life of great vulnerability. So that, economic opportunity helps a lot, especially for trans people. We don't always have all of the safety nets that other people have, we don't necessarily have a family that will take us in. So we become much more vulnerable to all sorts of violence, including sexual violence. And so there are ways we're going to sort of try to address it directly, and there are ways that we're going to address the root problems that cause that vulnerability.
Any other comments on that question?
I just wanted to say that is something that is kind of at the core of the Women's Commission's priorities, just because we know that women are disproportionately affected by sexual violence, sexual assault, and also domestic violence. So one of the ways that we address that is through partnerships with organizations like the Pennsylvania Coalition to Advance Respect, previously named the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape. But they changed their name because they're recognizing that the reason sexual violence happens in communities is because of the lack of respect for someone and that control that someone gets from, being a perpetrator in that space. So we do a lot of work with them, and also the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence. They're two very great organizations to get to know if, you want to be able to advocate in that sexual violence space. And also I wanted to add that the governor usually has put in the budget for the It's On Us PA grants, which go to college institution and post-secondary institutions to help address alleviating sexual violence and sexual assault on college campuses. So we actually have It's On Us PA specific initiative that's run through the Department of Education. And again, I will put that information in the chat. But yeah, that is at our core of, we know that women need access to those services in order to kind of heal from those experiences and be able to thrive afterward.
Excellent, thank you. Now another question here. Why are all of the events in the Philadelphia area? As a Pittsburgher, hey, it's a great question.
I can speak to one, like some of them. I would say I don't think all the events are in Philadelphia. I know that there are some folks will usually say, why are so many in Harrisburg? But it is also the capital. That is where the legislators are. That is where they meet. So realistically, it makes sense to have them there just because of that. I don't believe most of the events have been in Philadelphia since I've been doing this role. There have been a number of events, a number of folks who've partnered and had them on the other side. So I think it depends on whoever asked specifically, what events are you looking at? One, what are your interests? And if you just want to also, you'll have our contact information to let us know those information. So what are your interests and what are you looking for? And then we can guide you to where the events that are happening throughout the state.
I just want to say that the governor and I marched together in a Pride Parade this year in Pittsburgh, and we had a blast. Happy 50th to Pittsburgh Pride.
Also put in the chat about workforce development. They are doing a couple of listening sessions, and one of them is online. The others are in person that are spread all across different parts of the state. So yes, I think that's an important point. We need to make sure we go to every part of the state, from Philadelphia to Erie and from Scranton to Pittsburgh and everything that's in between.
Excellent. And I will shout out for the comments here. If you want to have events in Pittsburgh, please let the library know. You can email them and tell them their ideas. Pittsburgh is so great. Just shouting that out there. Now for Ruby, I have a question for you related to resources. So what resources does each commission have at their disposal to accomplish their goals and reach their target populations?
Yeah, so we're really lucky, obviously, to work directly with the governor and his team. They are awesome to work with and are always open to hearing our ideas and our thoughts. And one thing that we really want to make sure people know is that, you're not just talking to us and then your concerns get thrown away or not actually, listened to. We actually work directly with the governor's policy team. And like we said, the different agencies in the Commonwealth, just to make sure that if there are solutions to problems that our communities are facing, we're working with the teams at our disposal to find solutions to those and to make them concrete, developing different concrete policies and initiatives that address these issues and help our respective communities. So the Shapiro administration, he said this many times, and it's something that we all believe in. Government works best when everyone has a seat at the table. And now we kind of have this opportunity where our respective communities have a seat at the table. And we're really working to make sure that we can deliver real solutions to these problems, especially working with the governor's policy team directly.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, somebody asked about mobilization. So how do you all mobilize people and create community engagement? They said that they have a club at the University of Pittsburgh, Hail to Pitt, and they have a hard time getting people to come out. Any feedback or insight there?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is you feed the people. I mean, if you feed people, they will come. And how are you also engaging people? Is it social media? Are you doing flyers? Are you asking the people how they would like to be engaged? And then are you also going to the people, going to the community? And, if you're at the university, so I know you can go to William Penn, the Union, and just be there where they got Taco Bell, all those other food places, and say, hey, how's it going? This is my club. This is what I have going on. You know, that's how you are intentional, have that initiative. And I know you can go to the cathedral, and right at the first floor, there's a million people always there studying. So I think it's all about how you engage and how you are intentional about your putting yourself in the places, in the common areas that people are, especially at the University of Pittsburgh. You have a lot of options, but I went to Pitt, so that's why I know these spaces.
I think from my side of things, I go to Millersville University. It's a lot smaller of a school, and what kind of got me into this work was, working and volunteering with Governor Shapiro's campaign for governor back in 2022. One of our main goals was to literally mobilize youth and get youth engaged in the election and making sure they knew what was happening and they were registered. And it was very scary at first because especially young people, like they can be kind of mean when you just go up to them in college and they're like, hey, like, did you register to vote, or do you know about this election? Some people just don't want to be bothered, which is fair sometimes. I'm the same way. But I think just, not being afraid to just go up to people, ask them, bring up topics you're passionate about in conversation. The best way to make sure that, these issues are being recognized and heard is just by talking to your family and friends. I spoke on a panel last night with Planned Parenthood and a local representative in Millersville, and he said something that really stood out to me too. He said, not only talk to your friends and family, but then when you go out to volunteer somewhere, to canvass somewhere, bring them with you. It's getting them directly engaged. They'll be more apt to do it if they're coming with you because you're somebody that they know. And then look, they might end up loving it and then go to one of their friends and bring them along next time. So really just tapping into your own networks. I can't tell you how many times I've texted my friends and been like, please come out and help me register people to vote. And they ended up loving it. So yeah, just not being afraid to annoy some people, because in the end, it'll be worth it.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, I would like each of the commissioners or the executive directors of the commissions to talk about this next point here. What obstacles do you see for accomplishing your goals as a commission in and out of government? And we can just go around the room and maybe we can start with Olga.
Sure. I think that for me, with my commission, I can say that they are so energized and so willing to, yes, we got to take care of this. And we have a role. We have an executive order that is saying specifically what are we to do or not to do. They want to start a program. They want to create a new, department. No. So I think that has been a challenge, even though we met only 2 weeks ago. The last 2 weeks, I've been getting emails trying to connect with the governor. And I said, no, you want to talk with the governor? Write the number 717-788-8990. 717-788-8990. You can text the governor yourself and you can ask him all the questions you want, but I cannot set a meeting for you. So, I think that understanding the executive order, understanding our roles for my commissioners, it has been a challenge. Again, they are so energized and they have heard other members of the administration speak, secretaries, chiefs. They just get super excited and they want to work with Secretary Negrón. They're like, whoa, he's Latino, I want to work with him. Well, hold your horses. So I think that it's been super exciting to feel and see the energy that my commissioners have. But we have a role to play, and it's just to keep them in that engagement, in that section. It has been so far, where you're not a legislator and you are not assisting the governor. We are the connector. I think a lot of them got that, but I have a few that still want to, So again, if you want to talk with the governor, I gave the number away, 717-788-8990. Please do text him. Thank you.
I think that one thing with the Next Generation Commission is we're very new to this. This commission was just started in June. And young people just haven't had a seat at the table before. So it's just really new to a lot of us. For me, it's just been a big learning experience. I was kind of thrown into the state government world. I didn't expect to be here, and I'm also still a college student. So trying to balance both of those things. And also, I think the biggest thing is that there's so much that young people want to do. It's just, figuring out what we should prioritize, what is in reach right now, and what's going to be accessible later on. Just kind of figuring out what we should focus on at one time. I always say, young people are in every single one of the communities that is represented within our commissions. And so it's interesting because all of these problems are affecting young people. So just really trying to narrow down what we want to focus on right away. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing that we have so many, so much passion for different ideas, but it's a bad thing because we can't do everything all at once. And then also just beating the imposter syndrome. This is something that everyone struggles with, but I mean, especially for young people who have a new opportunity in front of them that has never been done before, it can be scary. It can be like, I walk into the room and I'm the youngest person there by like 30 years. Are these people even going to listen to me? And then you just have to tell yourself, I deserve to be here. I am here for a reason. We're going to make a change. So I think just, kind of battling those mental battles, but also figuring out what we should focus in on and when.
I can go next. For the LGBTQ Commission, we're facing an organized movement of people from the hard right who would like to eliminate trans people from public space and frankly, from this earth. And they're very hostile to my entire community. So, this is a tough time, an intense time. But I'll also say that the scars of the HIV/AIDS epidemic are still very much with us. And it can be hard for members of my community to trust government because of some of those scars. And I also think about all of the people we lost and the way that they would be able to support younger LGBTQ people right now. And it's a real loss that we're feeling. That absence is with me every day.
For the African American Affairs Commission, so I would say the obstacles in is really trying to make sure to understand all of the agencies within the state, since there are so many that also need our input, which is a great problem to have. That means that we, the voice that we have is important. So out of government, I would say within the community is working to build that trust in these various communities. So we have the whole state. So that means if I'm going to Philadelphia, if I'm going to York, if I'm going to Beaver Falls, or all these other spaces around the state, I have to know the lay of the land. I have to build that trust. I have to do community engagement in unique ways. And so how do you do that? You make sure that you're connected with these elected officials, whether it's local, the mayors, the borough council folks, or these other folks in these other community facing, these pastors and things like that. Those who are leaders in the community help to really infuse that work. So I say you can look at that as a challenge, or obstacle, but then it's also an opportunity to continue to build and to continue to grow these relationships.
I think one of the things I would add to this conversation on obstacles is that some of the changes that all of our commissions are advocating for, we do realize that some of it is a very long-term change. Some of it requires a lot of time for that real change to happen. So being patient sometimes gets a little bit difficult, but that still is a learning curve that for something to happen in reality, it will take a lot of time.
I think for women, the Women's Commission and women specifically, I think in government, it's been hard because we know what women need to succeed, and that's paid family leave, that's pay equity, that's raising the wage. And those are, things that can be stuck and haven't been passed, and those are hard to push for. And so that's been, quite a mission of, what we've been doing. So like Henry mentioned, the governor has a legislative affairs team, and we rely on them to work with the legislature but we can give recommendations of what we think would be best for our communities. And that's kind of how we work together. And then outside of government, I think it's hard for women particularly for women's health. And when we talk about, reproductive health care, there's such a stigma there that women have to, and people have to get past and see healthcare as healthcare. And then also we're trying to talk about period poverty and menstrual equity right now on our commission. And I'm just finding that the stigma regarding periods and folks not wanting to talk about that is hard for us, right? Because the only way we're going to address an issue is if multiple people and organizations and legislators are comfortable sitting in rooms hearing about women who bleed and girls who are missing school because of, periods and things like that. So I think that can be a giant obstacle for us, is that people also sometimes don't take us as serious as they would their male counterparts. So I think I could continue, but I'll stop there just in case.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have one last main question here, and I think it's a great one, especially when we talk about the fundamentals of a commission and the limitations. So Henry mentioned that the commissions are limited in interacting with the political process, right? So does this include a limit on recommending legislation? How and where is the line drawn between, advocating for your communities and something being quote unquote political?
I think there is always a tension between having a voice on the inside in an important space and then what you do with your outside voice. For our commission, working with PennDOT, I was a commissioner before I was the executive director. Working with PennDOT was a real sea change because LGBTQ people are not used to asking government for something and hearing yes. We were kind of shocked. So we can certainly talk with our legislative team, our policy team, and we do a lot. So we're definitely working on ways that things can be done in all sorts of categories through the departments, the agencies, through legislation, through working with outside partners. It's great to be at the table, and worth it to be able to advocate for our community in that way. So yeah, internally, we have a lot to say all the time on all of these issues.
Excellent. Now, just because we have a little bit more time, I want to give the opportunity for each of the commissioners, I always say commissioners, the executive directors of these commissions, two things to say. Either one, if there's anything else that you haven't mentioned that you want to make sure you do, and or going back to what some people mentioned earlier, a place in PA you think everyone should visit, or maybe a hidden gem in PA. Sometimes people don't know fully what what PA has to offer. We talk about Pittsburgh and Philly, but there's so many wonderful things between there. So I'll just give the opportunity for any commissioners to share anything else they'd like to add.
Let me go first and say everyone should try to visit the Pennsylvania State Capitol. It is so underrated, in my opinion. It's one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen in my life, and I will travel enough to say it's one of the most beautiful buildings to be in and work. And yeah, come there regularly. Come and visit your state representatives, your state senators, and tell them about the issues and concerns and your experiences, and make sure that you keep that constant communication line with your elected officials. So yeah, visit Harrisburg and the wonderful buildings around the Capitol buildings, the public, the garden spaces that are outside. Really wonderful to visit.
So a place that I want to mention, it just happened to be Philadelphia, but it has historical meaning. Well, actually two places. So the first one, Marian Anderson, her home has been turned into a museum. If those who are not aware of who Marian Anderson was, she was also born in Philadelphia, a great musician of our time, sang at a lot of really historic monumental spaces. So definitely look that up. That'll be like your fun fact to learn for the day if you don't know who that is. And amazing Black history in the state of Pennsylvania. Second place is in Gettysburg, the Lincoln Project Association. It is a cemetery that has a lot of Black soldiers who at the time back then were not allowed to be buried in certain spaces because of segregation. That space is being kept up by a group of folks who run that nonprofit Lincoln Project Association. And so definitely take time to kind of learn about the Black history in Gettysburg. One thing I will say, being in this role, I get to learn about some of the greatest places and historical markers and things of that nature within the state that I probably would have not known before. And oh, now I got a third one. So the third one, not necessarily a place, but a person, another kind of Black history there is Teenie Harris. If you do not know of his work, he's photographed some of the most amazing people within a lot of American history, from Harry Belafonte, President Kennedy, and his speech when he came here to Pennsylvania. Just a lot of different people, Marian Anderson as well, Lena Horne. So that's another fun fact, another person to look up. I'm sure the library probably has some items about that, about him as well. He's had a lot of stuff internationally of his works and photos. And there'll be some upcoming stuff that the governor's office and the first lady's office will be doing around that. So that's what came to mind to share.
I'll go next. Since I already made a pitch for our state parks, I'm gonna talk about our rail trails. They're a great way to get out together with others because they tend to hew to a railroad acceptable grade. You're not going to get a lot of steep hills, so you can go with a bigger group, people who might not like to ride up Lemon Hill, for instance, here in Philly. And the other sort of closing observation I would have is that I'm really happy to be working with this group of colleagues. I think we are stronger together. One of the lessons of the last, let's say 6-ish years is that we have to show up for one another, but we're very strong when we do. The last few years have been tough. A lot of us have been isolated, especially people in the LGBTQ community and a lot of the other communities that we're here to represent and to hear. And so I just want to encourage everybody to find a way to be stronger together.
I'd like to say, I'm sure that Ruby and Annette can provide this to the library if they don't have it already. But every time each of our commission got announced at the commissioners, there's the executive order for each of the commission and the list of all the commissioners. So since all of you are from the Pittsburgh area, perhaps you want to take a look at the list of all commissions and look at all the commissions from Pittsburgh, from the Allegheny area, and maybe you want to start connecting with them. There are commissioners from your area in all of our commissions. So that could be a good way for you to connect. And, if you take a look at the executive order, learn a little more about what we do and how we do it. I also like to say something that's important. A lot of people ask me, where's my office if I go to Hattiesburg, or, I'm in my house right now in my basement. But I always say my office is my car. And I think that's probably more true to a lot of my colleagues in here. We are all always driving all over. So we have the Commonwealth is divided into 5 regions, and we were asked to find commissioners within all of the regions. So we do have in all of our commissions leaders from all over, and they are our connection. So when they are doing events within their communities, within their organizations, they invite us and we go there and we connect, and that's how we build that relationship. So we are all over, and we get to hear from the feedback from each of our communities throughout the Commonwealth because of our commissioners. They are our link to the governor. Thank you.
My little gem that I'll shout out, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but Lancaster City If you've never been, I definitely recommend. Like I said, I grew up here and still live here. I think when people think of Lancaster, they think of the farmlands and the Amish, which is very true, but we also have a very beautiful and vibrant city that has a great, arts and music and culture atmosphere going on. There's a lot of great restaurants. If you ever want recommendations, just let me know. I have a list on my phone of restaurants organized by how fancy they are, and my personal reviews. And I also just want to give a quick shout out to Ashley for, doing such a great job moderating this. She's one of my commissioners, and has been such a great asset to our team. And I'm so glad to call her a commissioner and also call her a friend. So I wanted to thank her for doing such a great job with this.
And it's so good the camera's not on, or else you'd see me cry. Thanks, Ruby. This is great. So I will give this back to Deborah for the next stage of this discussion.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Would you join me in expressing gratitude to our panelists for sharing with us this evening and for all of their work on behalf of all Pennsylvanians? As our time together draws to a close, we do want to make you aware of upcoming virtual events that may be of interest. October 5th at 7 p.m., Books We Should Read About, Talk About, and Act On will be discussing An Unspeakable Hope by Leon Ford. Now, while we certainly encourage reading at the library, please note you do not have to have read the book to participate in the event, but the book is available at a library near you. October 24th at 6:30 p.m. will be a Pennsylvania Appellate Court Candidates Forum. And as our panelists have mentioned, due to the upcoming elections, we certainly invite you to participate in that event and learn more about the upcoming candidates for appellate court. Again, a special thank you to Ashley, Annette, and Jessica for all of their work in getting us through this evening. We also want to again thank the League of Women Voters and Pennsylvanians for Modern Courts for your work and collaboration to make this evening's event a reality. Finally, on behalf of all of us at Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, thank you so much for joining us, for your rich questions and your dialogue with our panelists, and we wish you a good evening.